are wasting your money on tutors. You are throwing away your precious time searching for language exchange partners who never show up. You believe a lie. You think you need another human being to become fluent in English. That is false. The secret to fluency is not outside of you. It is already in your head.
Precisely. In my 30 years at Columbia University in New York City, I have seen brilliant, genius-level students fail. They fail because they are waiting for permission to speak. They are waiting for a partner. Today, we cancel the need for permission. We are going to teach you how to become the narrator of your own life.
Welcome to the Slow English channel. I am Daisy, and as always, I am joined by the legendary Professor Peter Hanson from New York. Peter, that was a very aggressive opening. You sounded almost angry.
I am not angry, Daisy. I am frustrated. I'm passionate. Every single semester, I have students come into my office. They sit in the leather chair opposite my desk. They look at the floor, they wring their hands, and they say, "Professor Hanson, I cannot practice English because I have no one to talk to. I live alone. My roommates are from my own country." It is the number one excuse, and frankly, it is a terrible excuse.
It is a very common feeling, though, Peter. I think many of our listeners feel lonely in their learning journey. They feel that without a native speaker to correct them, they cannot improve. But you are saying this is the narrator method. Before we break that down, tell me, why is the partner method so flawed? Why shouldn't they just find a friend?
Because, Daisy, conversation is chaotic. Conversation is fast. When you are speaking with a partner, you are under pressure. Your heart rate goes up. You are worried about social etiquette. You are worried about being polite. You are listening to them instead of focusing on your own mouth. You are in survival mode. You are not in training mode. To train, you need isolation. You need the freedom to make mistakes without judgment.
That is a fascinating distinction, survival mode versus training mode. Listeners, I want you to think about that. When you are speaking to a waiter or a friend, you are just trying to survive the interaction. You are trying to get to the end of the sentence. But Peter is talking about deep practice. Peter, take us back. You mentioned you have seen students fail. Is there a specific story that comes to mind, a specific student?
Yes, there is one story that haunts me. It was 1998, fall semester. The leaves were just turning brown in Central Park. I had a student named Roberto. Roberto was from Italy, a brilliant writer. His grammar on paper was perfect. He could write a thesis on Shakespeare that would make you cry, but he could not speak.
1998? That's a long time ago.
Yes, I am old, Daisy. Do not remind me. So Roberto would come to class, and he was silent. He was looking for a perfect partner. He spent hundreds of dollars on private tutors. He went to language exchange meetups in Brooklyn. He tried everything, but every time he opened his mouth, he froze. He was terrified of the pause. He was terrified of the silence between two people.
The silence is scary. It feels like a heavy weight.
Exactly. One day, I found Roberto in the university cafeteria. He was sitting alone, staring at a cup of coffee. He looked defeated. I sat down next to him. I asked him, "Roberto, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm waiting for my language partner, but he's 30 minutes late. I have wasted my whole lunch hour."
That's heartbreaking.
It was. I looked at him and I said, "Roberto, look at this cafeteria. Look at the world around you. Why do you need him? You have the coffee, you have the table, you have the window. Describe them to me." He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, "The coffee is black." I said, "No, tell me the story of the coffee. Narrate the coffee."
Narrate the coffee. I love that. So this is the core of the narrator method. It's describing your reality in real time. Listeners, I want you to slow this down. Peter used the word narrate, Narrate. To narrate means to provide a spoken commentary, like a voice in a movie explaining what is happening.
Correct. In a movie, the narrator knows everything. You must become the narrator of your own life, but you must do it out loud, not in your head. This is the critical rule. If you do it in your head, it's just thinking. If you do it out loud, it's speaking practice.
Okay, let's break this down into steps, because asking someone to just narrate their life feels overwhelming. It feels like too much information. If I'm just waking up in the morning, how do I start?
You start with level 1. Level 1 is simple identification. It's the naming of the world. When you wake up, do not look at your phone. Look at the room and say what you see, but you must use full sentences.
Give us an example, Peter. Imagine you're waking up in your apartment in New York. Act it out for us.
Okay, it's 7 a.m. I open my eyes. I see the ceiling. The ceiling is white. I see the fan. The fan is spinning slowly. I see my alarm clock. The red numbers say 7:01. I see my slippers on the floor.
Okay, stop there for a second. Listeners, did you hear the rhythm? I see the ceiling. The ceiling is white. It's simple. Subject, verb, object. Peter, why is this simple repetition effective?
Because it connects the physical object to the English sound instantly. Usually, you see a chair, you think of the word in your native language, then you translate it. By pointing and speaking, you are building a direct bridge. You are rewiring your brain. You are bypassing the translation.
Rewiring your brain. That's a powerful image. Okay, but Peter, here's where we might have a problem. You're in New York, I'm in London. If I'm narrating my morning, I might use different words than you, and this often confuses our students. They don't know which word to choose.
Here we go, the Great Atlantic Divide.
It is important. For example, you said you saw your slippers on the floor. I would probably say the same. But let's move to the kitchen. I walk into my kitchen, I turn on the what?
You turn on the faucet, F-A-U-C-E-T.
No, Peter, absolutely not. You turn on the tap, T-A-P. A faucet sounds like a heavy piece of industrial machinery. A tap is elegant. It's simple.
A tap. A tap is what you do with your foot when you're dancing. Tap dance. A faucet explains the mechanism. But fine, let's agree to disagree. So you turn on the tap, then what do you do, Daisy?
Well, I might put some bread in the bin.
In the bin? You mean the trash can or the garbage can?
No, the bread bin, the box where you keep the bread. But if I was throwing it away, I would put it in the rubbish bin.
Rubbish. I love that word. It sounds so soft. Rubbish. In New York, it's trash. It's garbage. It's hard. Take out the trash. But this brings up a vital point for the narrator method. It doesn't matter which variation you choose. It matters that you choose one and speak it loudly. If you're in your kitchen and you say, I am opening the trash can, that's a victory. If you say, I'm opening the rubbish bin, that's a victory. The only failure is silence.
The only failure is silence. I want to write that down. That's beautiful. Okay, so level 1 is naming things. This is a spoon, this is a bowl, this is the milk. When does it get more complex? When do we move to level 2?
Level 2 is action commentary. This is where we start using the continuous present tense. This is where most students struggle. They know the nouns, but they are slow with the verbs. In level 2, you narrate what your body is doing as you are doing it.
Can you demonstrate? Let's go back to the kitchen scene.
Okay, listen closely to the grammar. I am walking to the refrigerator. I am reaching out my hand. I am grabbing the handle. I am pulling the door open. The cold air is hitting my face. I am scanning the shelves. I am looking for the milk. I am grabbing the carton. I am closing the door with my foot.
Wow, that was intense. You generated 10 sentences in about 15 seconds.
Exactly. And how many partners would let you do that? If you did that on a date, the other person would leave. They would think you're insane. But when you're alone, you can do this. You are practicing the structure, I am doing. Subject, auxiliary verb, am, verb plus ing.
It sounds like a sportscaster, like someone on the radio describing a football match.
That's the perfect analogy, Daisy. You are the sportscaster of your own life. He is picking up the cup. He is raising it to his lips. He is taking a sip. Oh, it's too hot. You have to inject drama. You have to make it exciting.
It's too hot. I can imagine you shouting that in your apartment. But Peter, this brings up a psychological barrier. I know many of our listeners are thinking this right now. They're thinking, Peter, Daisy,
If I walk around my house talking to myself, I will feel crazy.
The fear of the madman.
Yes, the fear of looking or feeling mentally unstable. How do we get over that?
This is where we need a mentorship segment. Can I speak directly to the listener for a moment?
Please, the floor is yours.
Ahem. Listen to me. You are afraid of looking crazy. I understand. But let me ask you a question. What is crazier? Is it crazy to speak to yourself, to improve your life, to improve your career, to build a skill that will change your future? Or is it crazy to sit in silence for 10 years, wishing you could speak English, but never opening your mouth because you are afraid of, what? The furniture? The cat?
The cat might judge you, to be honest.
The cat judges you anyway. The cat does not care. Listen, the most successful people in the world talk to themselves. Athletes do it before a race. Actors do it before a scene. CEOs do it before a speech. Talking to yourself is not madness. It is rehearsal. You are rehearsing for the big performance. When you eventually meet that native speaker, when you eventually have that job interview, you will be ready because you have rehearsed the lines 1,000 times in your kitchen.
That is so true. It is rehearsal. It is preparation.
And there is a trick to make it feel less crazy. Wear headphones.
Headphones?
Yes, put on a pair of big headphones, even if there is no music playing. If you wear headphones, you feel like you are on the phone. You feel like you're recording a podcast. It tricks your brain into thinking, I am communicating, rather than I am rambling.
That is a brilliant practical tip. I do that sometimes when I'm practicing a presentation. I put my earbuds in and I walk down the street in London muttering to myself. People just think I'm on a call.
Exactly. In New York, you can scream at the sky and nobody cares. But in London, yes, wear the headphones.
Okay, let's go back to the method. We have level 1, naming. We have level 2, action commentary. What is level 3?
Level 3 is where we add the emotional layer. This is for advanced fluency. A robot can say, I am picking up the cup, but a human says, I am gratefully picking up the warm cup because I am exhausted.
Oh, I see. We're adding adjectives and feelings.
Yes, we are adding the why and the how. This is where you practice complex sentence structures. So instead of I am walking to the bus, you say I am hurriedly walking to the bus because I am terrified of being late.
Hurriedly. That is a great adverb. Hurriedly, meaning to do something in a rush. And terrified, not just scared, terrified.
Deeply scared. This is how you expand your vocabulary. You don't just use the basic words. You force yourself to find the better word. If you are narrating and you say, I am eating a good sandwich, I want you to stop. Slap your own hand. Good is a lazy word. Narrate it again. I am devouring a delicious, crunchy sandwich.
Devouring, to eat hungrily. Devouring. That is a visceral word.
It is. And when you say devouring, you change your tone. You can't say devouring in a flat voice. You have to put growl into it. I am devouring.
Let's do a drill, Peter. I want to test this. I want you to give me a boring sentence, a simple level 2 sentence, and I will try to turn it into a level 3 emotional narration.
Excellent idea. Okay, Daisy, here is your boring sentence. I am looking out the window.
Okay, let me think. I am anxiously peering out the rainy window, hoping that the taxi will arrive soon.
Brilliant. Peering instead of looking, anxiously is the emotion, hoping adds the complex second clause. Let's try another one. I am putting on my shoes.
I am struggling to squeeze into my tight leather boots because my feet are swollen.
Oh dear, that sounds painful, but perfectly described. Struggling to squeeze. That's excellent alliteration. You see how this works? You're not just practicing English, you are practicing storytelling.
And this prevents the boredom, doesn't it? Because saying I am putting on shoes every day gets boring, but describing the struggle, the texture, the feeling, that's always different.
Precisely. Now, I want to introduce a specific technique I developed for my students called the flashback narration. This addresses the biggest problem learners have, the past tense.
The past tense. It's the enemy of so many students. They say, I go yesterday instead of I went yesterday.
It drives me crazy. I eat pizza last night. No, you ate it. It's gone. So the flashback narration works like this. At the end of the day, when you're lying in bed, before you sleep, you must narrate your day in reverse.
In reverse? Like starting from getting into bed?
Yes, it forces your brain to work harder. So you lie in bed and you say, I just brushed my teeth. Before that, I washed my face. Before that, I watched television. Before that, I ate dinner.
And because you're listing completed actions, you're forced to use the simple past. Brushed, washed, watched, ate.
Correct. And because you are doing it in reverse, you cannot just recite a script. You have to think, what did I do before that? It triggers memory and grammar simultaneously.
That's really challenging. I'm trying to do it now for my day. I sat in the studio. Before that, I took the tube. Before that, I locked my door.
Took the tube, excellent, irregular verb. You didn't say take it.
No, never take it. Although, Peter, here's a question. In London, we take the tube. In New York, you take the subway?
The subway, yes. Or the train, but usually the subway.
And the pavement?
The sidewalk, because you walk on the side. It makes sense. Pavement is just the material. Sidewalk is the function.
Oh, Americans and their logic. Sidewalk. Trash can. It's very literal. We British like a bit of mystery. The tube. It sounds like a scientific experiment.
A scientific experiment that smells like old socks. I have been on the London Tube in the summer, Daisy. It's not pleasant.
We're getting off track, but this banter, listeners, this back and forth, this is what you can eventually do, but you cannot do this until you master the solo narration. Peter, I want to talk about consistency. How often should a student do this? Is it 5 minutes a day? 1 hour?
It's not about time, it's about triggers. You need to set triggers in your environment. For example, every time you walk through a doorway, you must narrate 3 sentences.
A doorway trigger. I like that.
Yes, if you walk from the living room to the kitchen, boom, trigger. I am walking into the kitchen. The light is bright. I am hungry. If you walk out the front door, boom, trigger. I am stepping outside. The air is cold. I hear a car.
So you attach the habit to a physical action. That way you don't forget.
Exactly. If you rely on motivation, you will fail. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings come and go. Habits stay. If you make a rule that doorway equals English, you will speak English 50 times a day without trying.
That is practical advice. I want to go deeper into the mentorship aspect again. Peter, you mentioned Roberto earlier, the student from 1998. Did he ever succeed? Did the narrator method work for him?
It took time. Roberto was stubborn. He felt silly. But I made him a deal. I told him, Roberto, narrate your walk from the subway station to the classroom every morning. It's a 10-minute walk. Describe the people, the cars, the buildings.
And did he do it?
He did. For the first week, he whispered. He was shy. But by the third week, he was speaking at a normal volume. He told me that one day he was narrating a woman walking a dog. He said, the woman is struggling with the big dog. And the woman actually looked at him and smiled and said, yes, he's very strong.
No way! So he accidentally started a conversation?
Yes, because he was already speaking. The barrier was down. The engine was running. He didn't have to start the car. The car was already moving. He just steered it into the conversation. He spoke to her for 5 minutes about the dog. He came to my class that day beaming. He was glowing. He said, Professor, I spoke English and I didn't die.
I didn't die. That is the realization. You survive.
Roberto went on to become a journalist. He interviews people for a living now, in English.
That's an incredible story, and it started with narrating a walk.
It started with stopping the search for a partner and finding the voice within himself.
I want to try one more drill before we start to wrap up the methodology. We talked about tone. We talked about devouring versus eating. I want to play a game with our listeners called the Tone Shifter.
I love this game. Explain the rules, Daisy.
I will give a phrase, a simple phrase. Peter, you will act as the strict coach. You tell the listener, and me, how to say it.
Understood. What is the phrase?
The phrase is, I need to find my keys.
Okay. I need to find my keys. Listeners, say it with me normally first. I need to find my keys. Good. Now, say it as if you are panicked. You are late for a flight. The taxi is outside. Go.
I need to find my keys. Where are they? I need to find my keys.
Good. Higher pitch, faster speed. Now, listeners, say it as if you are a detective. You are calm. You are solving a mystery. You are whispering to yourself in a dark room. Go.
I need to find my keys.
Excellent. Slow, deliberate, emphasis on find. Now, say it as if you are exhausted. You have worked for 12 hours. You just want to go to bed, but you can't get in your house. Go.
Oh, God, I need to find my keys.
Perfect. Listeners, do you see how the meaning changes? The words are the same, the grammar is the same, but the prosody, the music of the language changes completely. The narrator method allows you to experiment with this music. You cannot do this with a partner because they will think you are weird, but alone you can be an actor.
Prosody. Prosody, the rhythm, stress, and intonation of speech. That is what separates an intermediate speaker from a fluent speaker.
Absolutely. Robots have grammar. Humans have prosody.
Peter, we have covered a lot today. We talked about the myth of the partner. We covered the 3 levels of narration. We talked about the flashback technique for past tense. And we discussed the British versus American kitchen vocabulary.
Don't forget the slippers.
And the slippers. Before we go, I want to address the listener one last time about the long-term journey. Many people start this method, do it for 3 days, and then stop. What is the final piece of advice to keep them going for 30 years like you?
The advice is this: fall in love with your own life.
That sounds philosophical.
It is. When you narrate your life, You start to notice details you ignored before. You notice the way the light hits the window. You notice the smell of the coffee. You notice the color of the leaves. Your life becomes more vivid. English becomes the tool you use to appreciate your existence. If you view English as a chore, you will quit. If you view English as a way to see the world more clearly, you will never stop.
That is beautiful. English as a lens to see the world.
Exactly. Do not look for a partner to save you. You are the hero of the movie. Start narrating the script.
Thank you, Professor Hanson. This has been an incredibly deep session.
Always a pleasure, Daisy. Now I'm going to stand up, I am going to put on my coat, I am going to open the door, and I am going to find a decent cup of coffee in this city.
Good luck with that. Narrate every step, Peter.
I will. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, and remember, speak slowly, speak often, and narrate your world.